recording started as well. And I should be able to get this uploaded by tonight. Depends on how fast I can get stuff going. But I'll get it sent to you as soon as I can. So, what got you interested in coaching?
Interested in coaching? It was like, I guess it was like a drive to like want to get better initially.
Uh-huh.
Initially, I got coached in Overwatch 1 a little bit around 2021 in like the August years.
Yeah.
I mean months, right? From an old streamer. He didn't stream anymore. I got coached from him for a little bit until around January, in
Mm-hmm.
which case I started improving more and more by myself,
Right.
and I kind of stopped getting coaching from there, and now I've hit another kind of like brick wall, I guess. So
Yes.
I guess I'm seeking coaching again.
Okay.
Cause
Makes sense.
yeah,
Makes sense. So, what got you back in the grind, or back going to taking it more seriously again?
uh,
And when did that happen? Was it Overwatch 2 or more recently than that?
I think it was season 2 of Overwatch 2.
All right.
Because that's when I figured out how, not figured out, but like started to understand how to play tank more. Because
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Overwatch 1, and I really liked how the game flowed, right?
Right.
And then Overwatch 2 happened, and tank changed entirely, and I was lost. And then I started figuring it out around season 2. Got to GM3 and have been kind of doing my own thing, but now I'm hitting the brick wall again. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. And why tank? I assume that's what you played in Overwatch 1 as well. So what appealed to you initially in
Mhm.
Overwatch 1, and how have you been liking the transition now that you've kind of let it sit for a little bit?
I initially I was actually a Junkrat OTP when
Oh,
I first
bless. I don't
started.
know if I can
I
do
was
this
in.
voice call with you. I'm not sure if
This
that's.
is a Junkrat OTP in bronze. All right, I
Oh
was.
no! Okay, okay. I think okay, I'm gonna check my career profile right now. Wait a second. I think I have an embarrassing amount of hours in Junkrat. Okay, not that many. Okay, here's what I am though. I have an embarrassing amount of hours of Junkrat and Deathmatch. I was one of those abusers, so that I would just feel like when they had the double conk mines. You know what I'm saying? No fall off.
Oh,
I was like, oh man,
oh
it was
no.
so much fun. So I feel even dirtier than you were. So keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, I played Junkrat, and then I took a break from the game initially. Because I first started playing the game in like 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had my funny little COD era, right? Went and
Uh
played
huh.
COD for about 6 months.
Uh huh.
Got a lot better mechanically though at video games, and
Uh
came back. Went from bronze to about gold plat. Started getting the coaching from the old coach I was telling you about,
yeah.
and found myself playing tank more and playing Reinhardt a lot. And I one tricked Ryan all the way up until like, not one tricked, but like, you know, I've like played Ryan
Yes.
99% of
Why
the
Ryan?
time, right? I liked Ryan, and I guess it was just like the hero that I was drawn to the most. And then
Sure.
I hit Masters, and right around the time I hit Masters, that was the time when everybody was running, like that was when like Overwatch League I think had just like really said, "Oh hey, Ball, Diva, Tracer, Sombra, Brig Zen." The Brig Zen comp was just like
Yeah, I remember that.
running amok and ranked, and Ryan was very not fun into that. So I could play Ryan and Winston, and that was really about it. So
No, that's terrible.
I know. So it's funny because after I hit Masters, I didn't have any ult accounts at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm in Masters learning ball, playing like
Yep.
a plat. I drop down to plat, and then I go up to GM hitting
Oh.
ball. Yeah. I then get to low GM playing ball, and then Overwatch 2 drops. It feels I didn't like the initial transition
Okay.
going from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, because it felt very weird, because the whole thing of like peeling for the team and like karma, like kind of marking the tank and
Yes.
peeling for the team and doing
Yes.
kind of like everything, it felt very weird because I had just learned ball, right?
Right.
And ball in Overwatch 1, he was very solo. Like you really just wouldn't be helping your team, rarely ever, I think, in Overwatch 1 as ball. You were really just going on the back line and trying to create as much chaos as possible.
Right.
So that transition was very rough for me. So
Right.
I had a hard time in season 1. In season 2, I'll admit it a little bit. I played a lot of Hog and a lot of Ram.
No. Okay, Ram is better than Hog. At least it's not an honest hero, but yeah. Okay, keep
It was
going.
also, but it was also Ram in season 2 when you had the infinite ult. So
Yeah. Oh gosh. Jeez. Just yeah. Okay.
I
No
got to
problem.
GM3 playing Ram though.
Okay. Well, you know what's kind of funny
Um,
is I'm always of the opinion that I think one tricking a hero to a high rank is like it's cheesy, but in a way it kind of like helps you to move on to the next hero. If that makes any sense, it feels like achieving any, not even mastery, but achieving like a level of excellence at one level somehow like might help you to like break the ceiling with your other heroes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
because because I understand what you're saying. Like if you kind of like one trick Winston to GM like to rank 50, I guess, and
Yeah.
then you go to learn Ball, you kind of it can almost like help because you know what makes Winston work and what makes Ball
Right,
work.
right, and I think
Then
also just you've actually put in the time and like learned the process of getting really good at something, so it's not as hard to do it again, right? Okay, keep going. Sorry.
so yeah, and then I'm kind of I so then last season obviously there was a lot of like rank inflation. I That's been very interesting because I still don't right now know if I like quote unquote deserve the rank that I'm at, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's something that's always sat in the back of my mind. I don't know. It's rough, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
seeing the rank inflation from a lot of other players, seeing people talk about it, and then being in this situation, I'm like, man, I wasn't here before. I haven't been, you know,
Well, let's put it this way:
hi-
you belong in the rank that you're at. You belong in the
mhm,
rank that you're at. There is rank inflation objectively, but it's not through some matchmaking cheese crap. It's just because there are a lot more crappy players than there are a lot more new good players. Whenever all
mhm,
this new COD, Fortnite, Overwatch 2 is now hip and cool with the kids again, right? At least to an extent. So you got a bunch of
mhm,
trash cans playing in bronze, silver, and gold, right? Um, and they're just new to the game or they're out of practice or whatever. So everybody's pushed up because GM1 is still like 0.2% or whatever of the player base. It just so happens that 0.2% of the player base is a lot bigger of a percentage, right, than
mhm.
it was before because there's a lot more players and a lot more of their players are generally lower ranked. I can tell you, after having coached a lot of gold players in Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, there's a tangible difference between a gold player in Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 1.
Mhm.
Gold players are just worse than they were in Overwatch 1. And they're worse at silver, and they're worse in plat, and they're worse in diamond. And if everybody's super, nobody is, right? If everybody is
Mhm.
inflated, then nobody's inflated. Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's not like there's a magical, oh, all plat players are now Grandmaster. Well,
Yeah,
what
I
about the
know
players that
that.
are stuck in plat, right? Those players were like bronze in Overwatch 1. So does Grandmaster mean less than it did in Overwatch 1? Yes, it does, because it's if you had any experience in Overwatch 1, you just had a significant advantage in Overwatch 2, so you're going to climb higher, right? That being said,
Mhm.
there's just no solution. We just have to wait for the player base to slowly get a little bit better over time. I mean, you could argue in Overwatch 1, ranks were deflated because the player base was so freaking small that you had like gold players would have completely RKO'd diamond players from like season 3 and 4, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, but yeah, that's the answer, long story short.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, let's keep going through the form then. And you like frogs? What particular type of frog?
Ooh, I have no idea. I follow on Instagram. I follow like 30 frog accounts, so just like post frogs.
Yeah, see, this is your problem. If you're going to have a hobby, you have to take it seriously. Okay, there's no such thing as a casual. I need to know tree frogs, poison dart frogs. If we're talking about bullfrogs, if we're talking about, like I said, the tree frog variation in Florida. I grew up in Florida, and we'd get up very early in the morning to go to classes or go to work or whatever. It was like 5:30, and you could go to school and you go outside, and we lived out in the forest, right? And it was like,
Hmm.
I don't know if the Discord might pick this up or they might not. It was literally like shh. I'd see it cut out there. It was literally just like
Yeah.
these tree frogs just shrieking, like, and it was like so loud. But yeah, and they were everywhere, like these little green tree frogs. But yeah, So yeah, my point being is that you need to know your frogs better. You can't be a casual with the frogs. You say you like
I
frogs,
gotta know my
that's
frogs
not
better.
good enough. You need to know more about frogs. You need to be a frog aficionado. Is it aficionado? I don't even know if I pronounce that right. I'm an idiot. Let's keep going. What do you have to get out of the session? I want to learn how to improve on things and learn what my issues are so I can feel more confident when playing to improve. Okay. Long-term, short-term goals. I want to go to contenders and hit rank 1. Juicy. Short-term, I want to improve my mechanics and join an OD team. Okay, you are GM1. Why are you not in an OD team?
I haven't felt confident enough.
Nah, that's what I figured. You're an idiot. You're good enough. Join a team. Well, especially if you're like, so it says in your hero pool that you play all tanks.
Yeah, I'm comfortable to flex to pretty much every tank in the game.
Okay, so then that's both a blessing and a curse. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then you have no reason to not be trying to join an OD team. Go for it. Worst case scenario,
idea
they're
how,
gonna say
though.
no. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right. Let's. Are you in competitive Overwatch Discord? Actually, let me just look at our mutual servers. You're in Natter. Okay, Get Good, Elo Hell. There's one that you can use. Okay, they do have looking for a team in there. Watch this. I'm gonna leak the juice. All right, check it. Competitive Overwatch. There is a Kello. Thank you. And here. Looking for players, looking for team. A lot of them are lower rank stuff, but you can start immediately. Overwatch 2, I feel like they do, but I don't see it anymore, so maybe not. Overwatch University, team recruitment. Here, right? There, a lot of them are going to be lower ranks, but a lot of them are going to be higher ranks as well. Elo Hell. Obviously, you go into Explore Public Discord servers and you type Open Division, and there you go. Now I'm not in this one, but there you go.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Open Division sign up, role selection, and so on. But basically, TLDR, there are your options right there. Let me get you an invite to Overwatch University as well. And then just search for Open Division, and you should be good to go. But get in the looking for team discords, and go. That's it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And trial with as many teams that are relatively within your SR range as you possibly can. About 2/3 of them aren't going to want you. About maybe even more, like 3/4 of them, at least in my experience. This is the same thing I did when I was trying with Coach, right? Trial as many teams as you can. Some of them will turn you down. Some of them will accept you. Then you pick the one that you like the best out of the ones that accepted you. Make sense?
Okay.
And then roll with it, Obviously, look at how much they scrim. Do you enjoy playing with the players? Are they annoying? Are they toxic? Are they positive? Is it fun? Is it frustrating? And then roll it. That's all.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. The answer is very simple. You just need to go out and do it. And you are good enough. If you're GM1, you're not boosted. You can play all tanks. Do it. Trust me. You're good enough.
All right.
Training time. How much are you playing? How much are you training? What's it looking like right now?
It's varied from day to day. If I have a bad day, I'll usually play around like 1 to 2 hours. But
okay,
if it's
what
just
constitutes
like
a bad day? If I can interrupt you real fast. What constitutes a bad day?
Just like me getting frustrated at ranked usually. Like winning and losing generally doesn't matter, but it's mainly about like whether or not I get like actually mad at the ranked games. Like whenever
give me an example.
Like if I'm just like put into like a really sour mood, or like if I have like just people shitting on me and being like, hey man, you should kill yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And like getting hit with the 1, 2, 3 combo and just getting like, all right, man.
Yeah, I got you. Okay,
I just put down the game.
So what's the solution then?
I usually just put down the game and say, I'll usually put down the game for a few hours, try and come back. And some days I just say, I'm not going to play Overwatch for the rest of the day. I'm going to take a break, get my mind on something else, and then play Overwatch tomorrow and grind rank tomorrow, right?
Okay, yeah, sure. That seems fair. Here's another idea to try. That this is not always going to work, but might work with some of the 1, 2, 3 kill yourself strategies. Leave voice. And mute team chat immediately.
I always try and like soft kind of like hard kind of soft com, right?
I
I'm
knew it.
always
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. That's your first
yeah.
mistake. This is why you need to get on a team. You need to get on a team ASAP so that you can practice those strategies. But you go into ranked and you're trying to hard shot call, mate. I think it's fine to do for the sake of practicing, but you have to like understand that you're walling with swine. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna be throwing like your pearls before swine. Like you're gonna be giving good advice and good valuable stuff that may or may not be listened to. And then if people trash talk you, mate, you gotta leave voice. You gotta leave voice in team chat. Like at that point in time, okay, they have already confirmed that the type of jackass that's not going to listen to you. So you either just mute them or you just leave voice and focus on your own play anyway. Right? I mean, when you're in ranked, practicing your communication is really, really good, but you don't need communication to be able to be coordinated with your team, and you don't need communication to practice at a specific facet of your gameplay that's weak, which is what we're going to be looking at when we go into the review in just a second, right? If I say your so-and-so is bad, practice this, I don't need you to be in voice to practice that. In fact, I might not want you in voice to practice that because you get distracted. I knew for me personally, I would have games where I was really, really focusing on a specific aspect of like my positioning or cooldown usage, and being in voice, like I would get caught up in like winning the team fights, and I'd lose focus, right? So I don't know. I get it because I was a big shot caller mate too, but like if it's more of a hindrance than it is an assistance, leave it behind.
I don't know.
And you can be selective with it. You don't have to be. I'm automatically never going to join voice, but you need to be very responsive to that, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I'm always in voice trying to like and be like, yo, whatever, like go on this target, fight plan. We'll use this ult, save this ult.
Yeah. See, like I said, that type of information is really good in scrims. And that's very valuable. But I think in ranked, it's just kind of hit or miss. And the other thing, too, is if it's making you get frustrated or making you not want to play, then for crying out loud, what is it providing? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's ruining the fun of the game, you know what I'm saying? Mate, no. Like, respectfully, no. I think that's something that, I appreciate you trying to, like, kind of, like, learn how to handle that situation better. I think that's a good habit to do. But if it is getting to the point to where it's really demotivating, it's not enjoyable, then, just keep that in mind, if that makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and chastise you, and I'm not your mom. But just kind of keep that in mind. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I want you to play the game. I want you to have fun, and I want you to be able to stay focused on the stuff that you're going to be giving at. And if you can't do that, then not only you're not going to have as much fun, but you might also have a hard time. The stuff that I give you might be very hard to stay focused on that stuff. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going. Training time, 1 to 2 hours on not good days. On good days, what is it looking like?
Probably like 6 to 8 hours.
Okay. It's a lot of time.
It is okay. In respect, it is like spread out. I'll usually play around like, because I'm currently doing online school because after the pandemic, my school offered to continue to do online school, so I took that option. And
sure.
So I'll usually play around like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours around the midday, and then around like 7-ish, I'll play from like 7 to 11, maybe going to midnight.
Okay.
And then I usually don't play after that. Okay.
Here's what I'm going to give you for raw improvement. Okay. 4 hours, 4.5 hours tops. Now, how that might be broken down, you could do 2 hours, break 2 hours, and then continue to play after that just for fun, but not be practicing at all, just be chilling, right? You could do 4 hours straight, but with short breaks while you're in queues, and then after that, play for fun. You could do 1, 3, 3, 1. You could do, today I'm pushing for 5 hours. I'm going to do 3 hours, take a break, play for 2. But 4 to 5 hours per day, even on a good day, even on a day where you get a lot of sleep, is kind of like the max, is what I would say. There's a reason why Overwatch League teams scrim twice, not 3 times. There's a limit. So you need to try and be as focused and as intense as you can during those 3 to 4 hours. And then anything else after that, whatever. If you want to play for fun, even if it's in ranked, just chill. Just chill. Make sense?
Yeah.
And what we would love to see is you do that a little bit better, and then you don't have the 1 to 2 hour days. That would be the optimal, finding somewhere in between. And like I said, if you're playing for 6 to 8 hours a day, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I just don't want to see you trying to play competitively for 6 to 8 hours a day. It should be like play for half of that time with intensity, the other half you're just like, even if it's like I said, queuing a rank, playing tank, just chilling, do whatever you want, just relax, don't take it too seriously. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
And then last thing I'll say with that as well is, depending on the number of heroes that you're playing, we might have to narrow how you're training, but also when you start scrimmaging, the scrims obviously get the priority in terms of training time. So you will need to subtract 2 hours from your actual training time and try to make sure that your scrim hours are like your most intense training time.
Okay.
All this making sense so far? Okay. Now we've talked about a lot here. Play all tanks, okay? Do you have any tanks that you specialize in and or enjoy more than others?
Ball, Rhine to a degree. I haven't played a lot of Rhine as of recent. I'm pretty good with Ball. I'm pretty good with Winston, although Winston is still, again, hard in ranked because it's ranked.
Right.
I know my Diva is pretty good, and my Risa and Ram were pretty good, but I haven't played a lot of Risa because of how, not great she's become
Yeah.
in ranked. And my Junker Queen is actually kind of good. I just need to work on my knives, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the answer with Junker Queen. You just need to work on those knives. The pencil-sized hitbox, Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. All right. I mean, obviously, when you do join a team, some of your hero pool priorities will shift a little bit based off of what the team needs. But the reason why I'm asking that question is I do think that even within a team, your team will want to kind of play around your priorities too, right? So if you have a hero that you feel you're really confident in more so than others, or the meta is so-and-so here, like think about it right now. Like right now, a lot of people are playing Winston and Ball and things like that, right? But you might be the type of guy that forces a little bit more Reinhardt just because you enjoy and you're better at the Reinhardt, right? That's good. Everybody you should always try to have a flavor of the meta. Both in ranked and in scrims around Diva's not that good, but I'm better at Divas. I play Diva, or Junker Queen's pretty good, but I definitely play a lot more Junker Queen than most players because I'm just that good at her, or whatever, however that is interpreted by you. Make sense? Because even in the Overwatch League, right? Like teams are having to play meta sometimes, but if they can, they're going to play to their hero strengths, and they often do. So much more so in ranked, and much more so in the team play that eventually you will be getting into soon. Hours of sleep, 4 to 9. What?
I have like crippling insomnia.
That's all right. All right. All right. Then here's what you do, okay? On days where you don't sleep as well, take that into account when you go into play ranked or scrims. Be a little easier on yourself, all right? Cut your time a little bit shorter. Maybe avoid voice. Keep the overall training time a little bit short, but not less intense. See, it's just like working out, right? Would they ever tell you when you're like tired when you're working out? They say don't skip the workout, just cut down on the volume. In other words, they want you to go intense, but you significantly cut down how long you go intense for, right? So if you have a 4-hour sleep day and you're like gassed, right? Don't not play ranked. Play ranked for an hour, then call it. I'm seriously. That would be better than trying to force like 4, 5, 6 hours and you're just like a total zombie and you're tilted and don't do that. It's a waste of time. It's not good for you either. But yeah, make sense? All right, lots of chastising this VOD review. I'm encouraging you though, because there's so many. You got a lot. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? My mechanics are definitely holding me back. Why do you say that?
I'm not mechanically one of the best players in the game. I know that. I struggle with tracking a lot. I know my tracking just isn't very consistent, I guess is the word I would use. Like I'm just I'm no I know that I'm like no proper when it comes to tracking and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, you're also relatively new to the game. and you're relatively new to like the hard grind as well. I mean, bronze Junkrat OTP just a few years ago, right? So that's fine. Don't worry about it. And you're also playing in tank. It's like there are so many different aiming styles, so that your mechanics are going to take a little bit longer to catch up, just because you're not focusing hit scan. Or I play Zenyatta and Ana only. You know, like you're playing a lot of different things. So just keep that in mind. Don't worry about it. Also, my lack of knowledge of the game and how some comps play together. So, last question for me there. What are you referring to there specifically?
Like, there are like some things where I'm kind of like almost confused. I remember at the beginning of Overwatch 2 with the Winston Reaper Sojourn comp. I didn't know how like the Winston was really supposed to like quote unquote dive, because like there was almost like nothing to dive. You couldn't really poke because you had to play the front line, but you couldn't like brawl the front line too much because again there was the Reaper and a shit ton
Yeah.
of burst damage. And I just like
Yep.
a lot of that comp didn't make sense to me. I knew how 6-man worked because again you also had the Diva there with DM for you, right? You went in with DM, you used bubble, you had movement, but like the whole thing, I always felt like I just kind of like exploded whenever I tried to play the Winston
Right.
in those
Right.
comps.
Basically, the reason Winston was played is because bubble is a really good brawl cooldown, and you needed to have the threat of dive. If you didn't have the threat of dive, then the enemy Sojourn would ego so hard that your team would just evaporate every fight when you could do nothing about it. And for example, even if you ran something like a Diva, not being able to contest that Sojourn well enough on an off angle, and by contest I mean actually I will kill you if you do not leave that off angle, which only Winston could really do, not even Ball, not enough kill threat, right? you would lose every fight. So what happened is the Winston was the keeper of the Sojourn, essentially, that prevented the enemy Sojourn from playing any off angle that she wanted. And if you didn't play Winston, the enemy Sojourn would take just every angle that she wanted to, and you just stop. And then obviously playing Winston Reaper sucks, but if you swap off of Winston, you're cooked, right? And the Winston was okay versus the Reaper if you timed your bubble engages perfectly, and you had your own Reaper with you. And then whenever you could, specifically when you had Primal, you would just completely avoid the enemy Reaper. Like you just jump away, find a different way to play, avoid the Reaper entirely. And that kind of built a lot of like these frontline monkeys. But still, as soon as you get Primal Rage, if you see that Sojourn, for example, waste or slide, you're on the Sojourn, right? That's kind of mentality. And that still applies to this day. Like, let's say you were playing Tracer into a Reaper. Now, you don't even need to worry about the front line at all. Now you're actively trying to avoid the front line because you don't want to face the Reaper, if that makes sense. But it's definitely a tricky comp. Anything else in particular that stood out? Like questions or lack of knowledge?
I guess the lack of knowledge is just like I've really only played ranked a lot, so again, I really only know ranked. So a lot of the comps, I don't know like every in and out. I don't know all the small things to help me get the advantage. I know like some of the small things, like I know in the into a lot of the Sigma comps, you know, using hands before rock, obviously it's just like awful, but again, you can try and get aggressive. Timing, pushing out with your team with the Sigma comp is good, but like there are a bunch of like small little micro things in a lot of the comps that I just feel like I don't know.
Yep.
And that I just, because I don't know, I don't use, and because I don't use, it feels like I'm always kind of handicapped by that almost.
Right. That makes sense. No, I definitely. I mean, you're definitely playing catch up in some aspects, but you even like the proper example, right? The guy is already been compared as one of the best players in the league history, and it's season 5. You know, he's a very late comer to the game, right? So you're going to be behind, but as it always is with anything, what you can do is you can cheat. You can leapfrog off of the shoulders of people that have come and died before you, right? And get that much better, that much faster at the game. And the more important thing is the mentality that you have that will allow you to catch up easier. I mean, I see this all the time, right? There are bronze players that have been in bronze since season 1 of Overwatch 1. There are players that have been stuck in contenders since 2018, 2019. And there are players that are bad right now. Think about it this way. I was coaching in contenders when you were a bronze Junkrat OTP. Little would I know that down the road you would be eventually Grandmaster 1 looking to join an OD team, right? Never would I guess. And there are bronze players, there are players out there right now just picking up the game that if the league is still around, will be in the league eventually.
If the league is still around,
if the league is still around, of course, right? That's the big question. But that's my point exactly. It's like it's there. Don't worry about the catch-up game as much. Focus instead what you need to be doing to get better, overall improve your mentality, and you will zoom right by. Now, that being said, Contenders Overwatch League may not be for you. It's not necessarily something that I recommend to everybody. Like your goals, your top OD, Contenders, or whatever, hit rank 1. Maybe you put in the work and the time to get there, and you're like, I don't really care that much about it. I don't want to do it. But we'll find out when we get there, right? I guess my point is that like you will learn enough in the meantime. And I think right now, and I say this as humbly as I can, with the amount of content that's being put out, Overwatch League analysis and stuff like that, I think the level of understanding the game is like the highest it's ever been. So you're going to be able to, I think, climb and improve a lot faster than poor me back in 2017, 2018, trying to learn from your Overwatch VOD reviews and getting some actively bad advice. And yeah, you know what I'm saying though. Like you can actually improve a lot faster now. So, okay. Do you have any questions?
No, not really.
Do you want to look at some gameplay?
Sure.
Let's do it.
You don't have any vodkas, do you? Wait, I gotta
don't.
watch real quick.
I was gonna sit here in awkward silence until that was answered, so. No rush.
Let me launch Overwatch real quick.
Nice.
I'll get a screenshot of some of the VODs.
You can also just tell them to me and just whatever one. So like I would prefer something that's more competitive, or a hero that you were confused at, or a situation where you weren't really sure on the matchup or whatever.
Those are some of the games that I had saved from. The Route 66 game I think is one of the like main good games that I was really able to get. The VOD wipe really hurt a little bit.
Well, have you not been playing enough since then?
I would say that there have been like a lot of games where I felt like I would overperform or just like, I guess, kind of get rolled, where it was like a lot of the games that I think I get are games where I overperform and like, I kind of like just kind of sweep the game almost.
Yeah.
Or games where I just feel like my entire team, we get 3-0'd on Shambali and they have 6 minutes of a time bank and then we don't cap first.
That'll do. Right. Yeah, that'll do. Well, I think the overall idea has to be like setting yourself objective goals about what you need to be doing, get it better. They're almost irrelevant to the performance of your team, right? So building good habits as a player overall. Makes sense? Let's take a look here. So Diva, I saw some ball in Winston as well, so you want to start with Diva? Okay, sounds good. Why Diva?
We have Curie Mercy, so lower heals. We have a Pharah, so DMing the Pharah in can be very good. Being able to dive onto targets with the Pharah will be good. I didn't want to go ball, I guess. I don't know why I didn't want to go ball. I think it's just because I feel like DM for the Pharah would be good.
Sure. I think first point Diva is probably pretty good as well. It's a little bit less broad. How's the audio level for you, by the way?
It's good.
Okay. I'm just gonna let it play, and I'm gonna pause and ask questions at some point. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Does what you're doing actually matter right now?
Kind of.
Why?
I'm getting the Cassidy with the Mercy Pocket to look at me. Use Flashbang, Fan the Hammer, which empties this clip, which puts less pressure onto my Pharah, which means my Pharah can play slightly more aggressive and look for splash shots.
Okay.
And there's no DM going in immediately into my Pharah.
Is your Pharah in a position to really capitalize or take advantage of what you're doing right now?
No.
Okay. Something to consider. Because the theory's there, and you might be asking, well, then, how am I supposed to anticipate that? But then if you don't actively see them pushing or taking advantage of anything, then just keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing card. That way, if you do see your Pharah go aggressive or your Tracer go aggressive, when you do exactly what you just did, you know that it will get the value that you just described to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back and we look at this engagement here, another question I might have is, where's my Tracer? Do you see the problem here?
Yeah, nobody's set up for my push.
Right, and they will set up. This Pharah will eventually look to take a more aggressive angle. This Tracer will push cart and wrap around. And if your Tracer is here and you do this exact same thing, I'm cool with that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Something to consider. Because the question is not should I have been able to eat the sleep dart, but why did I have no matrix?
Because I use it all trying DMing with
right.
Diva.
Meaningless pressure, essentially, right? Like meaningless pressure that ultimately didn't contribute that much. The play itself is not only good, but correct. It's the correct play, but it doesn't matter. Now, this seems a little bit more reasonable. As far as actually walking forward, you see an opportunity to see, like, I'm not saying you can't do anything until your team pushes, but what I am saying is that you need to understand that if your team isn't actively pushing, whatever you're doing is going to be objectively weaker. So just be careful. Pick and choose your battles. You see Soldier 1 HP, go for it. But just make sure. Just make sure. What you just did right here is really important. Look what you just did.
Checking my team.
Right. You want to go. You will go soon. Pharah's here. Tracer's here. Should I go? What do you think? Yeah.
I think yes, just to put pressure up on top, stuffing them out because we're about to cap, and letting them get angles and push out would be bad for our team and our Pharah.
Hey, look at that. And hey, look at that, right? We're splitting attention. It's good Diva play. It's good Diva play. Nice work.
At this point, we very much struggled to cap.
All right. We'll, oh! Unfortunate. Okay. Spectator Esports. Oh, Tracer's there, so now we leave. I like to see it. Okay, can I be honest?
Yeah.
You're playing really well. You're playing really well. These are all the right things. All of them. You're timing well. I like the matrix management. I like the pressure. I like, enabling the Pharah. I like dealing with cart and then leaving cart as quickly as you can. It's good. It's been unlucky, that's all. Now. You can't stand here.
Yeah.
You've got to move. You've got to be able to create space. And then how do you create space? How do you walk forward? Do you go, I'm going to fly in the Diva and create space that way? Or I'm going to flank and fly in the Ana and create space that way? Does that work?
I think I didn't see that my Curie and Mercy were both on the
It doesn't matter.
There.
It's irrelevant because they're always going to do weird stuff like that, right? It's right. So what can you do? How do you create space in a way where you're not going to get your HP nuked?
I can create space by trying to dive the ledge high ground right below you. I forgot what that's called.
Like here?
Yeah, kind of catwalk area.
Yeah, you could. Now, what is this? Can Ana and Soldier see you from here?
No.
No. How about this? See, I came out of this choke here, and my first thought was, why not fly to here? Take an angle. If I get pushed, I have Mega, right? And then from here, I do exactly what you said, right? Or maybe I even fly up to top here, okay? Fly at the top here and take an angle here. So sequentially kind of moving from point A to point B to point C to point D, trying to avoid getting shot, using cover, using health packs, allowing my team to walk out of the choke by causing a distraction. Because the problem is you're waiting for your team, but you're waiting for your team while you're standing in front of the enemy team. And that's that eventually your HP is going to bleed out. Okay? Ah. Wait, who took the... Oh, your Tracer took it. Wait, what HP was she at? Oh, 149. Disaster. Okay. You remember, the Diva doesn't have a lot of mobility, at least compared to something like a Wrecking Ball, right? So you got to be a lot more sequential about how you're taking a space. Little bit by little bit by little bit. Using cover, stage 1 dive, stage 2 dive, stage 3 dive, and so on.
Can't just flank all the way around.
Right, exactly. So you have to create a resource, because if you fly to here, or like let's say your Kiriko TPs or the far start showing the Diva, their Diva is going to lose the HP trade. So she's going to have to disengage, or their Ana's going to have to walk forward, one or the other. Either way, you're creating space. So let's say the Diva disengages, now you can walk forward to here, and then now all of a sudden you're in a position to dive your soldier or dive their Ana without actually taking any damage in the meantime. But you can't skip steps, right here. You used no matrix, that you Diva used all matrix, right? My problem though is once you're here, what could you or what should you do?
I should try and dive that soldier and force him off the high ground.
Wrap from here, get him off this high ground. Even if you don't kill him, get him off the high ground. Force that Diva to fly, because you know what that Diva's going to do, right? She's going to fly backwards.
She's going to chase me and try and blow up my mech.
And then now you drop, you take the HP right here, you take almost zero damage, and then you go from there. Now, can you help what just happened to kill you? No. Right? Don't worry about it. Not your problem. Sometimes it's your problem, but not always. Nah. Alright, come on. Move. This can also work. Where should you be from here? If you're gonna take this as a different approach, right? Is it better or it's a worse? I don't know. But it's a different approach, so where should you be?
I don't think I should be there. I think I should be walking up the right side ramps for natural cover.
Drop, walk, fly, right? Too far. Too much matrix have to be burned. I would definitely not be boostering in there either. So you've done your job. You've created some space. You forced him off the position. What do you do now?
Leave.
Yeah, just drop or chill or leave, and then wait and try again. At this point in time, what could you be helping with right now? Do you see it?
The Tracer.
The Tracer, because look at how aggressively she's playing in relation to her team. You force them out. You don't need to keep pursuing, because that's how you lose HP. Because now you should be able to more aggressively punish or control that Soldier Tracer, but you've lost too much HP. Boostering and bumping around, but it didn't matter, right? It didn't do anything. You've already done your job.
I guess I was just trying to prevent kills from Nanovisor.
Sure, but you've already min-maxed your matrix. If your team can't get out at that point in time, then it's not your responsibility.
Okay.
Because it's not so much that like, oh, well, my team's gonna die. Think about the most crucial time when your team's gonna die is when that nano happens or when he's on that high ground. Once you get him rid of that, once you get him off that high ground, it is up to you to reset, clear space, and then go again with full resource instead of being a middling half Diva for the next 25 seconds. Right?
Okay.
Like the odds were more likely that your Tracer was going to die in the duel than your backline was going to die. Oh my gosh. Just kidding. What was she expecting? What was she expecting?
I thought she rounded the corner.
I don't know. Now what should you do?
I thought she rounded the corner and didn't expect the remake to be right at the corner.
No, she just straight up blinked in. I guess for a pulse, but like, just brainless. Okay, so what should you do right now?
I think I should try and force the soldier off the high ground again.
Okay. Well, no.
The low ground.
Let me give you a little context here. Turn your thinking cap on here. So far, so good, right? And what if they'd all turn their attention on you? Did you need to stay?
No.
No. You did your job. You forced him back to his team. Now, what should you do from this position here? Well, obviously, soldier. Good. 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 Don't force it, right? Don't force it. Is the
I
Ana
think I do.
is the Ana a threat right now?
No, she's
Zero.
not.
Zero threat. You've done your job. You've created space. You've cleared space. So what should you do right now?
Turn back, focus cart.
Turn back, focus cart. Go back and get healing. Because it's not just, oh, you know, I could get the kill here. No. This is where the fight's happening now. Usually, we don't want you focusing Diva. Usually, we don't want you to okay, actually, Tracer's a different story, but like, this is where the fight's happening here. No. It's like, the funny thing is, it's like, you can look at that and be like, oh, that was good, right? No, it's not. Because the irony here is that you trade backlines, right? But it's so much harder for you guys to trade their backlines, given their positioning, than just simply turn around and don't let this crap happen, right? There's no way that this should have happened. No way that this should have happened. These guys aren't a threat to you whatsoever. They couldn't hit nades, sleeps, they couldn't even heal properly. The Mercy flies out in the air, she's dead. Just control. So it's always a game of space, right? And I'm still concerned about that Diva. Yes. So the ironic thing here is that even though it's a Diva Tracer, the Diva Tracer there, ironically, were probably just as easy to kill as the backline because of how aggressively they were positioned. Probably would not have aggressively bombed. Honestly, would have tried to save Mac just to prevent them from clutching up.
Yeah.
Nice. All about. Have you heard me talk about like the whack-a-mole game with Diva before?
No.
It's really just like, what's the most aggressive target? Control that target, and that is constantly in flux, especially in Overwatch 2. So you have to be so responsive, right? Like right now, back of your mind, you're thinking, I know where that Cassidy is. I know where that Cassidy is. I'm gonna get healing. I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. Okay, he's not there. We're good. Okay, now the Diva's on high. Control the Diva. Control the Diva. Control the Diva. Now this is silly, right? You did your job.
I guess it's just because she lost her armor. Whenever I see a tank lose their armor, I always think that they're so much more squishy.
Well, but you're correct. But you know something else that makes you vulnerable as well. Pushing past your team's LOS.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're doing right now. So there's just as much of a chance that you're going to lose your armor here as there is she's going to do. And the problem is that by focusing her right now, you're forgetting where's the Cassidy, where's the Tracer. Do you know what I'm saying? So like you're going hard. But the irony here is if you go back and forth, do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about? Right? Just something to consider. It's all about controlling space here. No longer a threat, right? You done your job, you pushed it back, now what's the priority, right? You see it. Baptiste, get him. He's out, now you just chill. Now I might set up here quicker so that I can stage better for the next engagement, but yeah. Obviously here you probably just need to disengage because it respawns. Okay, I don't want to, do you want to look at your other tanks as well? I don't want to just focus on Diva.
I think the rest of this game is very like swapping.
Yeah.
Because eventually they go like Sombra Bastion, so I think at one point I go Ball to try and carry, and then they go Sombra and they go Bastion, and at one point I go Ram. I think we can look at the Ball gameplay. The Ram gameplay I don't think is
okay. So let's catalog some notes for Diva there. So what were some things with Diva while we're getting to the right timestamp that you need to practice / improve?
I need to time my engages better, focus on the people who are aggressive and not push past my team's LOS, make sure I go engage, like walk to like quote unquote checkpoints before I really set up an engage. I can't just like flank, sit out in the open and then go for it. I need to actively think, you know, what I'm doing, shouldn't, I don't know how to like phrase it. Like I shouldn't just like waste all my resources on the neutral.
Okay, sure.
I guess.
Well, how do these 2 points so far look?
Time engage team position. Yes, pressuring targets based on level of aggression, not forcing a kill once you've already cleared them out. I think that's really good.
Okay. The simpler it is, the more likely you're going to be able to remember it. The more likely you're going to be able to remember it. The more likely you're going to be able to remember it in training. The more likely you're going to be able to remember it in training. The more likely you're going to practice it. The more likely you're going to practice it, the better you're going to get.
Okay.
So as simple as that is of a summation of what we talked about, the simpler the better, right? Mm-hmm. We don't need to get all the tiny little details that we talked about, which may or may not be important. That's good enough for now.
Okay.
Especially with the number of tanks that you're playing. It's good enough. And at least one of those is also going to be relevant with ball.
The timing one.
And to a lesser extent, the pressuring targets based off the level of aggression, right? Like, if your threat of slam and your engage is clearing everybody to running away, and you continue to over pursue the kill, probably not as necessary. But let's keep watching. Like right now, like you can't help it that you're on a dot. You had no opportunity to even do anything just yet, so you can't worry about it. Yeah. Bonk. Oh, disaster. If he's not off the map within like 5 seconds, then you're just a terrible ball. It's kind of funny. You're doing it with ball and you don't even realize it. It's just natural game sense, right? You're like, okay, well, their backline's all safe and they're all peeling me off, so I can't kill them anymore. Whoa, this tracer's overextended, right? I can shoot this tracer. Normally, would you slam on a tracer? Would you go, oh, gotta dive their tracer, guys? No. But there she is, right? So why not? Right? You're a tank. You can generally like help with anything. So, okay. Staging here, not gonna work here. Almost exclusively better to wrap through right or to go under left and wrap around from underneath this direction. 9 times out of 10.
I guess my objective was to boop the Diva away to create like some artificial kind of space in the front line, and then roll through the high ground and then force them off the high ground.
It can sometimes work, but remember, sometimes better with tanks to attack the 1v1s that you're more confident in to cut off the lifeblood from the Diva in the first place. The Diva's not going to kill your backline. What is going to kill your backline is the Diva serving as a distraction in the Cassidy Mercy. So the best thing for you to do is to think about what's the best thing that I could do to get to the Cassidy, Mercy, or BAP, right? And that's going to be using one of the things that I described here, right? Yeah. What's better, grappling up and slamming or going from here, or rolling through the enemy Diva directly at the Cassidy? Or wrapping around from here, going for a slam on BAP, or even grappling here, rolling through, then going doubling back and slamming, or rolling right through them there, right? Screw the Diva. The Diva's going to take your HP before you even get there. And even though this looks fine, but why did we even need to burn to adaptive shields there, right? Because you felt like you're going to get toasted, right? You probably were going to get toasted. Be sneakier with your approach. That being said, I like the target priority. If your Junkrat can't handle a 1v1 with the Diva without instantly dying with no help, that's on him. Stop. 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 Stop shooting. Look at these guys. Yeah. Hide. If you could avoid them and shoot the Diva, sure. But the problem is like, even you just turning their back here is kind of scary. Like, I'm scared I'm going to start losing HP. Yes. Move.
I think I really fuck up my engage here.
Ah. Yeah, you're cooked. This point's done. Actually, oh wait, what? I was a hater. I was a hater. I got exposed.
Yeah, we win. We actually win this because their Diva.
Their Diva trolls. Their Diva. You know the funny thing is their Diva does the exact same thing that you did. Right? Who on the enemy team is being, on your team, is being aggressive right now?
Brig and me.
Yeah, there's like nobody really feeding, so like all she needs to do is just kind of sit on cart and chill, or at the very least wait for a tracer to go. But she just ends, right? She just goes, you know? It's exactly what we were talking about with your Diva earlier. No.
Yeah.
That's alright. That's alright. I love the target priority. I mean, it's not exactly like that's something that I expected GM1 ball to be messing up, but you know, you are doing that right, correct? So that's good.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
I want you to direct your eyes to the match chat, or the general chat. You know, is the general chat even working anymore?
No, they removed it at the very beginning of Overwatch 2.
How else was I gonna find random bronze players saying poopy in general? What a disaster. Yeah, so the problem here is obviously though you don't get punished for it. You lose your adaptive shields. You lose your positioning, right? That would have, because like now you've had to reset disengage and look at your positioning right now as opposed to where you were before, right? War crime level. Not in a good way. You're not one of those good war crimes, you know? Okay, good. Mines are fine. I wouldn't like, I would like drop mines to zone an area And then you use them to reposition the enemy team, and then you take care of the isolation. So like the fact that you roll right past the Batiste is kind of cringeworthy. You're not going to kill him because he's just going to get Valk beamed, but that's good. You want him to be Valk beamed, right? Don't let the Mercy go over here and Valk beam the Diva and the Tracer, right? Keep the Valk beam on the Batiste, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think that should be it.
Yeah, I swapped to Ram. I swapped to Ram. I think it's just me holding cart.
Okay.
I forgot that I swapped to Winston.
That's okay.
I swapped to Ram, and then they just like run me down.
Give me something with ball. Give me something with ball that you see that you could practice. Because I've got good news for you. I know we're running tight on time, but I've got good news for you in a second. Yeah. Give me something with ball first.
It's the same thing of, again, don't just shoot the Diva. I need to go on their backline, force abilities, force attention. What is it? Don't and waste abilities, have better pathing. Again, don't just run into them. You know, maybe take a flank angle, swing upwards, slam them from an off angle.
Sure.
That way I might not need to use adaptive shields.
Sure. Pathing to access those better targets. I mean, there's nothing new here, right? I guess a little bit, maybe some of the Diva stuff was kind of new, but it's a good general positive kick in the pants, right? Do you want to look at a little bit of Ramattra? We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's use it. And the good news is, by the way, you have a free replay code review as well. So, and like a week, a day, a month. If you have like a specific hero or a map which you're like, I need help, you can send me the code with like several timestamps, and you're good to go. Now, I like what you're doing here. I don't like how you're doing it, but I do like what you're doing. I also think Ramattra should feel just absolutely awful into this composition. I would probably play Diva into this, honestly.
I think the reason I went Ram is simply because I felt like I could harass their Diva a lot and harass their Baptiste a lot.
Really? Okay. The Batiste 1v1 is obviously phenomenal, right? But the problem is that this point is so wide, it might be difficult to get to. The problem with Diva is I feel like Diva can avoid you so easily, right? On this point. But let's screw the hero pick. Let's just see what happens. So
I think my idea was just to anchor point, draw out as much time as possible.
Sure. I mean, you're very good at it, right? So why are we shielding though?
Excellent question.
Here's I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna make you feel a lot better, right? So many Rams struggle with this. Top 500 Overwatch League Rams screw this up, and they get away with it because they make up for it elsewhere. But it is such a very simple fix. Okay, let's put it this way: it's not a simple fix; it's just a good habit to get into. That's gonna have big ramifications the more you practice it. Because right now, shield, right? Or shield now. Because that's going to allow you to not Nemesis form right now. So then you can Nemesis form now. You see what I'm saying? I like the principle of what you're doing though right now. It's the same thing as Wrecking Ball, right? I like 1v1 this hero. I go 1v1 this hero. Just do it better. That's all. And not mechanically better, but setting up staging the way that you're using cooldowns to close the distance without taking too much healing resource. Do that. Good. I love this. This is tanking. Watch this. Why are you not shooting the Batiste right now? I'm phrasing that as an accusation for fun.
Because he's like behind the point. His
right. You don't care about the jackass. Who cares about Batiste? He's too far away. Shoot the Sombra, right? This is exactly what you were struggling with a little bit with Diva. But this is the right move here. This is good. Remember we talked about with the ball as well, when you force the backline look at you and you turn around and went and shot the Tracer, right? Nice. Good. Look at that. Force Translocator. You know, obviously you're like, the E, I use the E. That's okay. I'll take E for a Translocator any day, right?
Because it means less time to get EMP.
Exactly. Well, she's just not fighting. She's just not fighting, right? That's the thing. She's just out of the fight, right? I mean, this is great. You managed to stuff them in the choke. The E is a little questionable. The shield, I understand, but I don't think both were necessary. Now, moment of truth, right now. I get it. You're punching. But what?
But is there a better target immediately to my
Yes,
left?
yes. Is there a better target? Is it Sombra? Where is that Batiste? Is there a Mercy? And the answer is yes to all of the above, right? That's just something that right now, I think what we're doing is pretty reasonable, right? For that brief moment, it's not the best play. Yep. Let it rip. Maybe unnecessary with the rally, but
I think it was unnecessary. I think it was unnecessary. I didn't.
I don't think you realized that they were using rally.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that's okay. It happens. That's all right. Go next. Because that's just a goofy mistake that you'll get better at with time. I'm more concerned about like this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess my idea was just because of the Junkrat. If we can force them out right here and force the rotation.
But what did the shield do that you could not have done just by sitting on the wall and shooting anyway? And do you even want to be here in the first place? Right, exactly. Just sit here and shoot.
I guess my idea of sitting there is that if I can stuff them there, it forces... If I can stuff them there, my Junkrat can spam there. It kind of like makes us, and then those already has to brawl me.
Let's use the shield. I mean, I understand that logic makes sense. So then don't use your shield, though. Sit here and spam. Let them walk to here. Zarya gets all up in your grill, then throw the shield down on the floor. You see that? So the idea is fine. Do I agree with that 100%?
Wait for the brawl to start before shielding?
Right. There's no point using shield. Like, where's your Junkrat spam?
Not there.
Right. No, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily your Junkrat's trolling. I'm saying that there is nobody in this choke, right? Because you pop shield and they're like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to wait it out, right? If you wait till they're here, they can't wait it out, right? They're cooked, right? So be careful. Same reason if you just threw your E up here, right? Same kind of logic as what you did. Oh, dear.
I think I do a small amount of trolling.
Oh, your Kiriko did as well. Yeah, the shield just doesn't block anything, Like, if you want to do this exact same play, throw your E and throw your shield on the target, on the location where you want to do. It just seems a little bit of just blind whatever. This is whatever. This is the fine play. Oh no, you honestly, you just need to get the kill. This fight's lost. Get the kill.
Yeah.
Get the kill, run to the Mega, maybe even survive. Maybe this fight is winnable. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think I didn't see the... I think I didn't notice the res and panicked.
Well, it's not just the res. It's also the fact that your Kiriko's dead. Right? And now your Junkrat's dead?
I didn't... Yeah, no, I didn't notice my Junkrat died. I thought it was just...
Gotcha. Because you didn't want to feed. I think even if they're alive, punching into the BAP is fine here because it's running away from the Zarya that's burning you down, and you can run towards the Mega. But whatever, it happens. You just maybe lost a little bit of kill feed awareness. Okay.
I think I swapped to Winston because of the Zarya.
Which is good.
Hanzo pick.
Yep. I think it's totally reasonable. Especially because you are going to get another fight on second. So, Ramattra. Skills practice.
Not wasting shield in slow just whenever in pre-fight, so then I can have it during the mid-fight and during the brawl sections of phase. Having better target priority. Thinking about, am I able to... who's playing aggressive? Can I walk on them? Do I just need to, use Nemesis form?
Yeah. Isn't tank great, though? Because so much of, like, obviously how every hero interprets it differently, but, like, you notice that there is so much bleed over from tank to tank, from Diva to Ramattra, from Balda to Ramattra, from Balda to Diva, and so on. Just something to consider. Do you have any questions?
Not necessarily. I guess my only question is, like, what do you do if if I'm playing a dive, say I'm playing Winston, right? And the enemy team is playing, I don't know, Diva, and the entire enemy team is playing very passive, and they have a better, like, frontal brawl. Like, they're playing very deep and very passive, and it's hard for me to stage a dive. How do I, like, approach that, per se? Do I kind of, like, let them have the frontal brawl and trade frontal brawl for building maybe a support ult or a DPS ult and
Sure.
engaging really hard
If they're
with that.
focusing, if they win the frontal brawl, you win the off angles.
Okay.
Which means that your DPS, your supports, and even you said Winston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means you
Just
have,
like hypothetically, Winston.
right? Hypothetically,
Really kind of
you have every angle that you can stage from. I mean, think about there's a very, 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 very clear way of putting this one on. Actually, here it is. I mean, it's literally what we just looked at. Do you see their comp? Do you see their tank? Do you see their positioning? And yet, look at your team.
stacking main.
Right? Well, do you see all of this? Everything's here, all in a big clump. But that being in a big clump meant that you were able to engage from where?
The off angle, the high ground.
Now,
not
Diva is
in front of their tank.
an ass. She's obnoxious because she can take the off angle and deny you from engaging on it. But even doing that is risky because she might get poked out trying to do that because her team is still stacked in main. And if they try to go out and match you, well then you just go to a different angle or you avoid it and try again. That's the main takeaway. If they are very brawly, short, front line centered, avoid it, run around it, make them try and chase you, make them try to match you. Diva tries to mark you as Winston, but she has to step away from her backline to do so. She's running the risk of losing that HP trade, even though the matchup for her in the 1v1 is better.
Okay.
That's it in theory. In execution, you would need to send me a replay code with a timestamp, and I'll tell you exactly what you need to be looking for.
Okay.
So yeah, leverage that replay code rule. And you can even do 2 replay codes. Just give me like 2 timestamps from each or whatever, right? You could do 4 replay codes with a 1 timestamp, 1 fight from each, right? However you want to interpret that, whenever you want to do that, a little bit of extra follow-up feedback. Do you have any other questions?
No, not really.
All right, mate. Well, obviously we talked about